Hello and welcome to this very special show with the Big Bull. In his first interaction with me since Diwali, I'm now joined by Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Rakesh, a pleasure speaking to you once again. We haven't spoken for many months and a lot has happened in these last 6 months. The market's taken a deep dive and has come right back almost to 8,000. How are you feeling about it? Do you reckon this is the big thing? We have turned a corner and we are firmly on our way up once again?
So then let me recount the last 2 years. I think once Mr. Modi came to power, we all got very, very bullish, very expectant, and the market shared our views, and we moved from 6,000 to 9,000. I think that was a moment of over-expectation. We had problems in the economy, and correctly, I realized that in the beginning of last year, maybe January, February, and I felt at that time that market will correct. And then market did correct, and then it has been a tremendous comeback, non-stop comeback from 6,800 to say 7,800, 7,900. I feel things have really changed for the good, and I think we've seen a move, and I think we are sitting on the foothills of what is going to be a very, very large move. And I feel so because we have the expectations have mellowed. It's not that the government has not done things. Government has done things, but in India it's very difficult to change anything. It takes time, right? And also that the Indian economy is on uptick. This uptick has been done without doing any excess. It's not that we have tremendously reduced interest rates or we have, the fiscal deficit has been blown out of proportion. And we are inherently strong economy and we have gone through a cycle. And the path is upward, the earnings path is upward, the interest rate path is downward. The question is the path of the market is up. How much and when, only time will say.
But what is your own feeling? How much up this year you think? Do you think the market has enough steam to make a new high, an all-time high above 9,000, 9,100 in this calendar?
Then if I tell you my real feeling, I feel that the dream that India is going to have double-digit growth, or going to have 8%, 9% growth, I think we are on the threshold of that. And we have had literally very poor earnings growth for the last 3 years. And there are a lot of changes in India which are actually structural in nature. There's not going to be always the death of chronic capitalism is a journey, it's not a destination. But the way things are correcting, the way systematic changes are taking place, the way the democracy is getting deep-rooted, the way that, people who are doing the right things are succeeding. So I think I think India is now ready for its next leap. That's my personal opinion. The leap is going to be slow initially, and then it's going to catch speed. And the market is smelling and recognizing that. And I also want to tell you, I have learned from experience in the markets, then when markets take a course, every event which is uncertain is in favor of the course markets has taken. So if the markets have taken a bullish course, you see the rains will be good. So I feel, and we have had the effect to do bad monsoons, I don't know, then I feel extremely, extremely bullish. I reserve the right to be wrong.
Of course, all of us do. But you think that 6,800 on budget day was a bottom then? You'd be very surprised if we retested that during the course of the year?
Well, I think I would be very surprised if we retested 7,200, 7,300. I think 7,400, 7,600. It's very difficult to say about these figures, but I can tell you one thing. We have made a bottom which is going to hold for a long, 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 long time to come. And also, it is subject to, Nassim Talib's black swan. But in normal circumstances, I don't think we are going to go there. Because, expectations are mellowed. Surely, whatever be my opinion of bullishness, the economy is an upturn. The results are better than expected. And I think the change which the government is making, the real effect is going to come upon us. Now, if you look at what China did to its defense industry, right? If India is going to do that to the defense industry, what a difference it's going to make to this economy. You're going to have 60,000, 70,000 crores worth of goods being made in India just for the defense industry. And this is good. And India is going to become a big exporter of arms. You're going to invest 1 lakh crore in roads. First I want the kick to GDP because of that investment, and the kick to GDP because of the efficiency that comes about. So I think we're on absolutely the right path. In fact, I feel that the optimism that we had when Mr. Modi was elected got corrected, but there is reason for us to believe that optimism was correct, but not as high as it was then. It has to be mellowed. But even that mellowed optimism, I think, can lead to really good growth.
That's the local part of it, Rakesh. But when we spoke last time, I think a large part of our discussion centered around the global piece and what impact that would have on India's performance or the performance of any market in the world. Are you breathing easy on that front, or does that still top your list of worries?
See, I was worried. One thing I was worried was the Brexit. Because if the English vote to walk out of the EU, I think the EU itself will collapse. But now the reports are that the Brexit, is going to be favorable. They're not going to exit the EU. Then it's reflected in the value of the pound. The dollar is losing value. The DXY is nearly a 2-year low. If the dollar loses, then all emerging market assets will come in favor. The commodity prices have bounced back to a level, in pessimism they had gone to such levels. Now they've come back to some better levels. I personally think there's not much higher to go from these commodity prices, but I don't think there's much lower to go also. And at these level of commodity prices, a lot of commodity producers will become profitable. So I think even on the commodity side, there is upside in the market in terms of the valuations of commodity companies. And I don't know how to express it, Udayan, but the inner feeling I get from all that I hear, I see, I think we have really turned this time. I remember, we have a post-Diwali party which Ramdev holds every year on Diwali, on post-budget party. In 2015, everybody was so bullish. I didn't go there because I was bearish and I didn't want to spoil the party. This time, everybody was asking, do you think it's the bottom? Do you think it's the bottom? He'll open with a downward gap tomorrow and see what happened. So see how markets make tops and bottoms. They trick all of us.
That's true. But you spoke about commodities, Rakesh. Is that an investment-worthy theme in the stock market out here, you think? I mean, is it worth looking at? Because we've had a terrific rally in many of the steel companies, for example. Do you think those stocks might have bottomed? And after the rally that we've already put in, do you think there's enough juice left in that kind of a play from an investment perspective, not a trade perspective?
You'll have to look at companies individually. And they have had a big kick-up, commodity companies are up 30-40% in the last 2 months. So whether to buy them or not, everybody should do his individual research. But I, for one, feel that the extreme fall that those commodity stocks had, there's space to go up and there may be space to further go up. I have not made a study of many of them, so I wouldn't like to comment.
But I wanted to ask you about pharmaceuticals, because some of your core holdings have been there in that space. Everybody knows you've held Lupin for such a long time. And if there's one space which has got into trouble over the last many months, after many years of a bull run, admittedly, is the pharmaceutical space. How have you read goings on in that space? Because you don't seem to have cut down positions in some of your core holdings there yet.
See, without commenting on Lupin, I can tell you I'm very, very, very bullish on the pharma space. India is going to be a world power in pharma. And even if you take Lupin, it went from 600 to 2,000, 2,100 in a space of 18 months. Every rise has to a correction. I think it's only a correction in the pharma. It's not a reversal. One thing I want to tell you then, see, when you talk about the international matter, see, I don't think that the international markets can really go into bear market unless and until interest rates rise or there is a crisis of confidence or there is a major bank failure. Because, at this interest rate, you think here, the Dow is at 5% yield and the alternative interest rates are 2%. That's in America. In Europe, they're negative. In Japan, they're negative. What, are you going to put money in the bank? Are you going to give the bank money to hold your money? So how will asset prices crash unless and until there's crisis of confidence? Or there's a big drop in earnings and the dividends are at scale. So I don't think those markets can go into a bear market unless interest rates go up, or there's a crisis of confidence, or a bank fails, or there's a major dip in earnings.
The one thing that worries one, I take your point, Rakesh, is the tepid performance that we're seeing in large economies like Europe and Japan, and a lot of feeling which is gaining ground that central banks are probably not able to reflate economies as they could in the past, having spent so much of their firepower. Does it worry you that that could be the source of the kind of crisis of confidence that you're speaking about?
No, but suppose, see, India exports are limited. Suppose there's a crisis of confidence abroad. Maybe India will join the party temporarily. But if India has to grow, you'll have more money coming here. I don't see that in face of an international, slowdown, India is going to, slow down for all time to come. And frankly, then all the growth may be tepid. I don't expect it to negative or, something like 1929 at all.
You spoke about the dollar. Do you think the rupees also sort of bottomed out around that 68, 69 kind of levels? You've seen the worst levels for some time?
See, I think every year the rupee is going to appreciate to the extent of the inflation difference between America and India. If in America inflation is 2%, India at 6%, you can expect the rupee to depreciate 4%. Now it may happen together, 2 years depreciation could happen together. It could, it could happen suddenly, it may not happen for some time. But for this year, I see a range between 66 and 69. Mr. Raghuram Rajan has clearly stated that he would like to build as large a reserve as possible.
Yeah, my question was about Raghuram Rajan, because you said we've effected some kind of a turnaround in the economy without any dramatic reduction in interest rates. What is your view now from here on? Do you see an acceleration in the downward curve for interest rates? Does it make you positive on rate sensitives as a cluster, therefore?
If inflation stays at these levels and the projected inflation is also at sub 5% levels, I think you'll see at least 50 to 75 basis, further cut in rates in the next 6 months. And you'll see injunction of liquidity.
And the second part of my question about rate sensitives, do you think that's a theme worth playing now?
Yeah, that's good. Absolutely. I think interest rates will go down further. And first of all, the transmission of the interest rate cut itself, which has not taken place, will take place. That is when the budget in the monetary policy ensured a lot of liquidity to the banks. And I, for one, who respect Mr. Raghuram Rajan so much, he himself has turned very bullish.
Time for a break now. We'll be back with the big bull in just a minute. Don't go away.